It was 1:45 in the middle of the night when the bus screeched to a halt at a desolate crossroads, the sound shattering the silence. The driver's apprentice pushed open the door and, in a voice thick with exhaustion, called out, "Thomas Station." He gripped the iron handle and leapt down. I rose from my seat and glanced around. Everyone else was deep in sleep. I was the only one getting off. The apprentice unlocked the bus's luggage compartment, pulled out my bag, and set it on the ground. "Thank you," I said. He didn't reply. Instead, he slammed the trunk shut, climbed back onto the bus, and pulled the door closed. The engine roared to life, and just like that, the bus rolled away, leaving me alone in the middle of nowhere. Darkness swallowed everything. The only sounds were the ceaseless chirping of crickets from both sides of the road. The silence between their cries felt unnervingly vast. I took a deep breath and waved my hand in front of me, as if trying to push the night aside. There was a car on my left, or at least I thought there was. When I turned to look, there was nothing. No headlights, no outline of a vehicle, just shadows stretching endlessly. A hallucination, I told myself. 7 hours on a cramped bus, the constant hum of the engine, and an empty stomach. Of course, my mind was playing tricks on me. Then, out of nowhere, a blinding light pierced the darkness. A car. It hurtled toward me like a streak of lightning. The whistle of the wind behind my neck sent a shiver down my spine. My body moved before my mind caught up. I bolted across the road, stumbling onto the other side. I barely had time to catch my breath when the headlights flickered again. But this time they didn't rush past. They lingered. The car crawled forward at an unnervingly slow pace, as if something unseen was pushing it. My breath hitched. It wasn't just slow, it was deliberate. Something was watching me. I lingered for a moment, shifting my weight from one foot to the other, doing a little of this and that to distract myself, until the car finally arrived. It rolled to a stop just a short distance ahead of me. Relieved, I grabbed my baggage from the ground and approached. The windows were all rolled up, the glass dark and reflective. I bent down slightly, and, in a voice louder than I intended, almost a desperate yell, I called out, "Would you take me to Bella Street?" Without a word, the front door creaked open. I was so exhausted that I didn't even think to check who was inside, or how the door had opened on its own. I just got in, resting my baggage on my lap. For the first few minutes we drove in silence. I hadn't looked at the driver's face yet, my mind too clouded with fatigue. Instead, I let out a relieved sigh and spoke, "I'm really lucky you happened to pass by Thomas Station at this hour. If you hadn't come, I would have been stuck there until sunrise." He didn't respond. I didn't find it odd at first. Some drivers weren't talkative and I was too tired to care. So I kept talking, more to myself than to him. But after a while, the silence felt unnatural. Something gnawed at my senses. The road outside grew darker, the trees casting long, shifting shadows across the pavement. The streetlights, which should have lined the way to Bella Street, were missing. Or had we already left the main road? Where is he taking me? The thought gripped me like a cold hand. My pulse quickened. As I whispered the question to myself, I finally turned my head to look at the driver. An old man sat behind the wheel. His face was gaunt. His skin stretched tightly over sharp bones. His hands, gripping the steering wheel, were thin and veined, swollen like gnarled roots. A chill ran through me. Something was very, very wrong. He turned his head and looked at me. Then he smiled. I froze. His face was human almost. But his eyes, they were completely black. No whites, no pupils, just endless, soulless darkness. I had never seen eyes like that in my life. A shudder crawled up my spine, but I forced myself to stay calm. Slowly, I inched toward the door, my hand resting on the handle, as if that alone could protect me. Desperate to break the silence, I blurted out, "Are you working at this time of night?" A ridiculous question. Why would I even ask that? If someone else were in my place, they'd probably ask, "Are you even human?" The driver turned his gaze back to the road. He didn't answer. By now, my eyes had adjusted to the dark. I could see more clearly, the way his long black nails curved like claws, the way his hands rested on the wheel, speckled with red blotches. My breath caught in my throat. He's not human. A wave of cold fear crashed over me, drenching every inch of my body in terror. I pushed against the door, my fingers fumbling desperately for the handle. Locked. I tried again, pulling, yanking, pushing, but it wouldn't budge. It was useless. The old man's face loomed beside me, his hollow eyes drilling into me. Outside in the distance, a faint glow appeared, a few dim shop signs flickering in the darkness. Maybe houses, maybe a gas station. Maybe my only chance. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing, not a sound. My voice was gone. Panicked, I slammed my fists against the glass, punching with all my strength. The driver turned his head again, staring at me. But this time he wasn't smiling anymore. The violence in his eyes intensified. His lips moved rapidly, muttering something under his breath, words I couldn't understand. At first it was a low, angry whisper. Then his voice rose, sharp and filled with rage. The car screeched to a sudden stop at a traffic light. He turned to me, his blackened, claw-like nails stretching toward my face. His arm, was it longer than before? My breath hitched. I recoiled, pressing myself against the door, my fingers still uselessly gripping the handle. Then, through the windshield, I saw it. A police car. It was coming toward us from the opposite lane. With every ounce of strength in my body, I screamed. I slammed my fists against the windshield, pounding as hard as I could. The car trembled under my force. Then, abruptly, the door flung open. I tumbled onto the cold asphalt. The police car came to a halt. One of the officers stepped out, crossing the road toward me. His flashlight beam hit my face, blinding me for a moment. "Are you okay?" he asked. I gasped for air, my chest heaving. "A non-human creature tried to kidnap me." My voice was barely coherent, choked by fear. The officer glanced at me, then at the car. His hand hovered over his holstered pistol as he cautiously approached the driver's side. His partner stepped out, watching closely. The officer yanked the door open. Nothing. The car was empty. He turned back to me. "Is this your baggage?" Still trembling, I hesitated before stepping closer. I peeked inside. My bag sat there, exactly where I had placed it. "Yes," I stammered. The officer shone his flashlight inside, picking up a set of documents. He flipped through them, scanning the details. "Are you Martin Cook?" he asked. I frowned. "What? No, I'm not." He lifted a driver's license, a car registration form, an insurance paper, and a bottle of vodka. "These are all under your name," he said, his eyes narrowing. My stomach twisted. "That's impossible. I don't own a car. I never have." The officer exchanged a look with his partner, suspicion flickering in his eyes. He muttered something under his breath and signaled for a breathalyzer. A moment later, my breath was tested. "Negative," one of them confirmed. His partner sighed, handing me back the documents. "Drive carefully." And just like that, they left me alone. I stood frozen, staring down at the papers in my shaking hands. My name was on every single one of them, the license, the registration, the insurance. My head spun. Was it an illusion? A nightmare? Then a thought struck me. My bus ticket. I reached into my pocket, fingers fumbling for the small slip of paper. I pulled it out and stared at it. My breath caught in my throat. The ink had changed.